Hi everyone. I'm going to talk a few minutes today about my classical Chinese herbal treatment for Lyme disease and co-infections. I am now at the end of my second month of treatment following 2 weeks of antibiotics. I spoke about my experience in the first month in my last video, and so this is about the second month. So the second month, I continued with Formula 1, and I also introduced a third formula, which I'll call Formula 3 for now. And what I did was I went back to Formula 1 for the first 3 weeks of month 2, and then I spent the last week using Formula 3. At the same time, I introduced a new set of Western herbs to go along with my treatment, and so I did this at the same time as the Chinese herbal medications. I will say that month 2 was a little bit easier than month 1. My main progress points include being able to eat again. I had spent many years on a limited diet because my body and my immune system was so reactive to every single thing that I ate and every single thing that I put in my body. And so for the first time in years, I've actually been able to eat vegetables again and to eat some grains and to eat different types of meats as well as some raw vegetables. And so this to me was a major, major point of progress, to be able to eat and to have peace while eating and to not feel overly bloated or exhausted or just sick in general after eating. The other major change that I noticed was a dampening of the fire, let's call it, that I had in my nervous system. So before I started this treatment plan, it's safe to say that I was at the point of emergency for probably close to 2 years. I literally felt like I was dying. And when I did blood work and other types of testing, it didn't reflect how I was feeling in any way. There were subtle indications of a possible low-lying viral and or bacterial infection, but it wasn't obvious to which type of organism or organisms this was. And so doctors were very unclear about how to treat it and to treat my condition. So by month 2, I'm going to say that there's been a dampening on that fire, and that feels really good to say. Before I started this treatment, every day I was the most tired I have ever felt in my life, and every day I would continue to be more and more tired, and I honestly don't know how I was able to cope with dealing with that level of fatigue and panic and alarm for so long. However, I did what I could using the information and the treatments that I did have access to at least keep my body alive. What's related to that is this psychological perspective of feeling like you want to die or like you are dying, and there's a limit to how many times you can say that to somebody before unfortunately they just stop believing you. And it's a really shitty way to live, and I'm really grateful that that feeling has gone away, and for the first time in many years I'm not feeling like I'm dying. Wow. Um, so the other thing I want to mention that happened during month 2, it started with more of that upset stomach, a little bit of belching and bloating, and that came to a peak about midway through the month. I had reintroduced another tool, another herb that I had in my medicine kit, and that seemed to push me over the edge into a clearing. And so what that felt like to me was a day of pain and panic where I was almost concerned I needed to go to the emergency room. And I pushed through it. And then after that passed, the next few days were some of the clearest days that I've had in a really long time. I actually was able to walk around again. I walked close to 2 miles 2 days in a row. I felt like myself again for a minute, and that was a really good feeling to be reminded of what it feels like to have a clear mind and a clear head, and less pain overall in my body. Um, After that, I changed to that third formula, of course, as I mentioned in the last week, and that seemed to bring back a lot of my headaches. However, my abdominal pains were quite less, and just as I finished out that the end of the month, I feel like I don't have the obvious sensations of poisoning in my gut, which is how I felt for months, for years. I felt like I was literally being poisoned by what was going on in my intestines, and I no longer feel that. And along with that, of course, is less brain fogginess. I'm able to think a little bit more clearly, and I just have less pain overall. So I am still having some symptoms. I'm not totally cured yet, and I'm still having a lot of fatigue and a lot of pains in my body. But I'm moving into the third month, and in the third month, I hear there's a lot more, a bigger push for with the antiviral and antimicrobial herbs, and so I should expect to feel another round of yuckiness before hopefully I have more healing. So we'll see what happens. I'll let you know how things progress. Thanks for listening. Bye.